Please welcome with the talk, Pursuing Cultural Intelligence, my new friend, Justine Yo.
Allow me to assume that all of you, by the very fact that you are here today, are intelligent, and that all of you also desire to grow in your intellectual ability. Intelligence, both the innate and the learned kind, has long been prized and pursued by people across time and space. But the intelligence I'm speaking of here is more of IQ, which is logic-based reasoning, and perhaps even EQ, emotional intelligence. Yet, there exists another form of intelligence that is quickly becoming a necessity when it comes to navigating and leading in our increasingly global and diverse world. This intelligence, as you can see, is called cultural intelligence, or CQ for short. While the term may be new to you, its underlying concept has been around for over 300 years. René Descartes, French philosopher and scientist, wrote in 1637, "It is good to know something of the customs of various peoples, so as to judge our own more soundly, and so as not to think that everything that is contrary to our ways is ridiculous and against reason, as those who have seen nothing have a habit of doing." So let us unpack cultural intelligence over the next 4-ish minutes or so. CQ, in its simplest form, represents the ability to function effectively in diverse and unfamiliar settings. It involves the skill of switching cultural contexts by suspending judgment, learning new social patterns, and behaving appropriately in this new environment. While researchers have described it in many ways, it is helpful to understand that there are 3 main aspects to CQ, as you can see: motivation, cognition, and behavior. And just like the Powerpuff Girls, all 3 superpower types are needed to develop and sustain cultural intelligence. So first, motivation. It refers to the drive to learn and adapt across cultures. And then we have cognition, which represents the knowledge of cultural norms and values. And last, behavior. It deals with the ability to act and speak appropriately in a range of cultural situations. Now you might be thinking, okay, but how does this all play out in reality? Good thought. I will first warn you that CQ, like all other forms of growth, takes time and practice to develop. Lots of time and practice. During my time as a researcher with the state, I had the good fortune of working alongside the Backstreet Boys of Lincoln. Boys didn't show up, but from left to right, they are from Zimbabwe, United States, China, India, and South Sudan. And that only made up half of all the nations that were represented in our team. I first joined the team 7 years ago with little cultural awareness and little cultural humility. Through working with my colleagues and getting to know their cultures, their families, and their stories, I grew to not only respect the cultural differences between us, but to actually admire and thrive in the differences among us. I also learned that sometimes you don't need to travel the world to learn about the world. So thank you, Zoom. And going back to the 3 aspects of CQ, my time spent with my coworkers from different parts of the globe included examples of motivation, which is wanting to get to know them, cognition, learning their cultures, and behavior, eating their spicy foods, even though my tongue is on fire, but no regrets. In Nebraska, diverse populations have grown and will continue to grow their share of the total population. By 2050, the Center for Public Affairs Research at the University of Nebraska-Omaha has projected that more than 1 in 3 Lancaster County residents will be a person of color. And this encompasses minorities, migrants, and refugees. So, love it or hate it, diversity is here to stay. Knowing how to navigate and lead in culturally complex and diverse ways will no longer be something that organizations want, but rather something that organizations will need. In fact, this growing need for effective leadership across cross-cultural settings has a name: the global leadership gap. Perhaps you can begin the work of filling in this gap. Learn to go against your human nature of remaining in comfortable situations and nurture the intention of befriending and caring for your neighbors who do not look, think, speak, dress, or eat like you. In the words of yet another famous philosopher, Eeyore, a little consideration, a little thought for others makes all the difference. You can get to know someone completely alien to you without losing yourself. In fact, you might find that you end up better because of it. The relationships that you pursue with those who are culturally different from you are important not only for you as an individual and as a leader, but these relationships are crucial for the well-being of your community and of your country. I hope I have grown your thirst for cultural intelligence in some way, just this past 5 minutes. And because I recently returned to graduate school, I would be remiss not to include a slide of references at the end. Thank you.